Hey ghouls, Terror Krueger, the sweetest psychopath you'll ever meet, and welcome back to my channel. Hey ghouls, welcome back. Well, I'm super excited to be bringing you a new type of video to my channel that I've been in the works with for quite some time. Right off the bat, right away, I kind of want to say I've always been obsessed with true crime. It's always been my thing. If you knew me growing up, you knew me in middle school walking around with my big orange book that said the serial killer encyclopedia. I always researched a bunch of serial killers. I was always the kid in school that you could go up to me and ask about any serial killer, and I most likely knew everything about them. I was just always so intrigued. My love for horror was the first thing I became obsessed with, and then I kind of wanted to dabble into real life monsters, real life evil people. So that's where in middle school I started looking up serial killers, and today we're going to be going over one of the most infamous, violent, disgusting serial killers ever, and I feel like no one's really talked about him too much. Honestly, because of how violent and gross he was. So with that said, there is going to be a trigger warning. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know that today's topic is going to be covering murder, and also all the crimes were against children. So if you are sensitive to that, I don't recommend you watch this, because it does have to do with murder, assault, cannibalism, and torture. Right out the back too, I want to say hi if you're new to my channel. I know this may come off in bad taste because I am sitting here in drag talking to you about true life murders, real people. And you know what? I understand, I get that these are real people, and they have families and stuff. And I mean no disrespect with it. Honestly, being in drag is very my mask. I'm pretty much I always explain myself as the hood rat Elvira, but I feel me being in drag is just kind of more comfortable for me to sit here and talk to you guys about one of my interests is true crime. So and I know I did make this bow. It is a bunch of serial killers. I know, is that bad taste? I'm sure it is. So I'm aware that I may not be your cup of tea, and if that's the case, then just kindly go watch another video. I obviously am aware that these are evil, disgusting, sick men and women, and no way do I condone what they do is glorifying or glamorous or yes queen, oh my god. No, obviously what they did is extremely fucked up and horrible to people. I just find an interest in their stories and in the minds of a lunatic, and I kind of just want to get into that. And yeah, I mean, I really can't explain why I like wearing crap with their print on it. I don't know, am I just trying to be an #edgy hoe? Probably, I guess. I mean, I really don't wear this to offend people. I wear it because I like it. And with that said, it's always so hard, and I know I'm not going to please anyone. People are still going to probably hate me for this, or just send hate my way, but I don't know how else to say it. I have an interest in serial killers, true crime in that matter, not just serial killers. There's all types of true crime. And yeah, quick, I actually was really inspired by I don't know, because to be honest, I'm not trying to say oh, I thought of this, whatever, but I remember back in the day I was searching people doing makeup and talking about true crime, and that's actually how I found Bailey Sarian. And when I found her channel, I just became super obsessed and been watching her for the past 3 years or however long, and kind of put my idea on the back burner because I felt oh, she's already doing it, I don't want to feel like I'm copying her. But then I realized you know what, I do makeup videos, 1,000,001 people do makeup videos, so why not also add my twist to my love of true crime and makeup. Although like Bailey Sarian, I will not be doing my makeup while I talk about the crime because I can't multitask and I not focus on the story or my face. So either way, I'm just going to be dressed up and we're going to talk about the crime. So with that said, this is True Crime with Terror Krueger.
Masochist, sadist, child killer, most importantly, cannibal. Fish, born 1870, enjoyed spanking, nails studded paddles, stuffing needles deep into his groin.
Albert Fish was actually born as Hamilton Howard in May 19th of 1870. He was actually teased a lot for his name being called Ham and Eggs by other boys at an orphanage he stayed at after his parents died, and he took the name Albert from a sibling that had passed away. While there, he was ridiculed and bullied a lot by like staff members and the older kids there, where he would succumb to a lot of vicious beatings. During that time, he kind of realized that he was really into this in a sexual way, that he would get aroused. Once the kids saw that like he was getting a boner from like getting his ass kicked, they kind of teased him more about it. And that's kind of when Albert first started discovering that he was really into some crazier shit. When he was 9 years old, his mom was able to hold down a job, and she went back to collect him and all his siblings from the orphanage, and they moved in back together. After his release, so shortly after he was taken out of the orphanage, still very young, he was probably about like 12, 11 years old, he started a relationship with a telegraph boy who kind of introduced him into drinking urine and eating feces. Also, when he was a younger boy, he did fall out of a cherry tree, and from that he would get constant headaches. Now, a lot of people have discussed maybe this is the reason why he did what he did. There's a lot of debate between nature versus nurture. I personally think it could either be 50-50. In Albert's case, I think he was a little there already before the whole cherry tree incident. So in 1890, he moved to New York with his mother, and he did eventually tell police that later in interviews that at this time he became a prostitute. But not that much is known about him during this time period. There's kind of a gap in between of what he was doing. He claims he was a male prostitute, but there is no like confirmation that he was out there hooking it for some coins or anything like that. I don't. Also like to write obscene letters to women who would take out ads in the newspaper, which, don't hate me, that's kind of funny actually. I mean, he's a disgusting sick monster, yes, but I mean that part kind of made me laugh when I read that. Sorry, I should probably cut that out. In 1898, Albert's mother did arrange a marriage for him to marry. Her name was Anna Mary Hoffman, and they did have 6 children together. She, down the road, eventually did abandon Albert and the family, leaving him alone with all of his children. Now, Albert never initially like abused his children in the way he would his victims. He did do some gross shit with his kids. Like, he never sexually molested his kids, or ate kids, or tortured them. What he would do is he would play these weird games where like he had this like paddle with a bunch of nails in it that kind of looked like a hairbrush with nails in it. And I mean, this is abuse obviously, but he never like hurt the kids. He would have them sit on his back and hold up their fingers with a number on it, and he would try to guess the number, and if he got the number wrong, then the kids would hit him that number of times in the back of the head with that paddle with the nails in it. So like, I mean, yes, that's still abuse because he's getting his own children to kind of arouse him and torture and stuff, but at least he never hurt his own children. I mean, actually no, that's kind of mentally fucked up. I think if that was me in that situation, I would probably have really fucked up memories of someone making me do that. But during the time of his marriage, he was still living life on the DL. He was still hooking up with many, many men and having sex with them. Of course, not known to his wife, at least that's what I've read. One of them actually took him to a museum where he did see like a replica of like a dissected penis. And this is honestly what really drove him to have the obsession with sticking needles into his pelvis, like penis area. Like, he would just take these long nails and just stick them in. Kind of gruesome, but that is actually a photo of the x-ray of him with all the needles in him right there. In 1903, Albert Fish was arrested for embezzlement and spent some time locked up. During that time, it is said that he continued to have sex with multiple men in prison. He was just a dick pig, honestly. Like, Jesus Christ, it's like every story is like every chapter of his life is like he did this, also he had sex with a ton of men while he was doing that. Oh my god. Anyways, during this time in incarceration, he did, his children said that after he was released, he was never quite the same. He would hear voices and claim that religious figures were speaking to him while he was in prison. So in 1910, Albert Fish started a relationship with a man named Thomas Kettle, who was a 19-year-old man that was said to not be fully mentally there. He was a bit mentally challenged. Although Fish would have like crazy like S&M sessions with him, to one point where he took Thomas out to a barn and he kept him there for 2 weeks while he just sexually assaulted and tortured him. So at the end, he did kind of half castrate him, leaving him with half his penis. And at the end of the assault, Albert let him go and handed him $10. Now, it is not known if Thomas lived after this. We just don't know what happened to him afterwards. That is just insane and sad to think that he would even take advantage of a mentally ill person like that. But I mean, look at all the other fucked up shit he's done. He is just sick and disgusting. In 1917 is when his wife decided to leave him and all the kids for another man's house, leaving them with nothing. Around this time is when his children said that he started just going even downwards, in a downward spiral even more. They would find him just wrapped up in the rug, and he would ask them to spank his bare buttocks with that spiked paddle. This is also around the time he started experimenting with cannibalism, and he started off by just eating raw meat and also feeding it to his children. And then there was Francis McDonald, the son of a Staten Island police officer. So we're about to get into some graphic details here. It was allegedly said that he was just kind of watching Francis outside, and his mother spotted him walking around the neighborhood. After he noticed that the mother noticed him, he kind of did walk off. Later in the day, Francis did go outside to play with 4 friends. He was lured off by Fish after he offered him, I believe it was like raisins or something. The boy went missing. His father called a search party and they couldn't find him. A few days later, a couple boys did find him under a few branches. All his clothes from his waist down were removed and he was viciously assaulted by Fish. The young boy had been strangled with his own suspenders, and they said that it was so tight that it even looked like it was part of his own flesh. It became a kind of a big case and people were really on top of it. A couple men were questioned and arrested for the murder, but were later released. Eventually, attention for the story did start kind of dying out because they were getting no leads and not getting anywhere. There was no more calls about any sightings of the gray man. So Francis McDonald's mother did release a statement saying, "Help us catch the monster who killed our little boy. Help us find the gray man." So there, I didn't mention, but some of the names that Albert Fish did go by was the Wolf of Hysteria, the Boogeyman, and the Gray Man, and also the Vampire of Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. So in 1928, on May 25th, Edward Budd had placed an ad in the paper looking for employment. A couple days later, it was answered by Albert. When I read, I'm not sure if his intentions were to actually murder Edward and his friend, but he offered them a job and said that he would come back on Saturday to pick them up to take them to the location to where this job supposedly was. So Edward and his friend were super excited. They had their bags packed, ready to go. Albert Frank was supposed to come pick them up, and he never showed up, but he did send a telegram that he was delayed and that he would show up the next day to pick him up. So he showed up early on Sunday. He arrived when the family just got back from church. He was invited in and asked to stay for dinner, and that was the first time he got a look at Grace Budd. So after he spotted Grace, he did kind of immediately spark an interest in her. So he kind of like called her over, and then he pulled out like this giant wad of money and kind of asked her to count it for him. After she'd counted it, he did reward her with giving her a 50-cent piece and told her to go buy candy for her and her siblings, and she did. Immediately after that, I mean, of course, like I said, these were different times. He said that there was a change of plans and that he would have to go to a niece's birthday party. So Fish turns to the mother asking for permission to take her to the party because there's going to be lots of games and food and other children her age. Her mother is hesitant at first, but then the father answers for her and says that yes, she never gets out and gets to have any fun. So let him take her, which is already kind of fucking weird because why is he only taking one when there were said to be multiple children in the house, yet he only wanted to take one? I mean, good thing he didn't take all of them, but that's just fucking weird that he specified like, oh, I'm only going to take one to the birthday party and not the other kids. Like, that's just fucking weird. So he did give him an address because the mother wanted to know where the party was going to be. He gave an address to his sister's house, and what the family didn't realize is that the address was fake. I think he said it was something like 37th Street, and they didn't realize that the street ended at 10. So, I mean, if back then, if you had Google, you could have Googled that shit real quick to see that he was fucking lying. So as Albert left with her walking up the street, the mother watched him, like waved him off goodbye, and unfortunately that was the last time she ever saw her daughter. They did wait patiently for him, and then of course, 9 o'clock came and went. That was the time he was supposed to have her home, and just panic immediately started because Grace never came back home. Albert Fish never showed back up with her like he said he was. Monday morning came along, and the mother, of course, in her right mind, was just hysterical as all hell. And Edward did run to the police to make a missing persons report for her. Just go by, and there's one arrest made. Of course, it's not Albert Fish, so the man is held for about 3 months and was later released. There's finally somewhat of a break in the case in 1934 in November. The family receives a very horribly gruesome letter, and it is later that they did investigate, and it was said to that it was proven that it was sent by Albert. Yes, so he did write this letter to the parents of Grace Budd, which was also all kinds of sick. Like he said, he did have a reputation of doing this, as he would write very obscene, vulgar letters to women who took out ads in the newspaper. Find his landlady, who was able to identify him by his description that they had given her. They found out that he had moved out, but he was going to return because he was receiving checks from his son, and Albert would actually ask this lady to cash checks for him. Now he did have one coming up in the mail, so they were going to stake out and watch to see him come pick it up. They actually staked out the place for about 3 weeks, and unfortunately there was no sign of Fish anywhere. November 4th, the landlady did call the police to let them know that Albert Fish is actually there at that moment asking about his check. She was told to stall him, so she did invite him into a room and offered him tea. When the police did show up, they saw this frail old man sitting on the couch, and he just looked at him and said, "Albert Fish?" Right then and there, Albert Fish actually pulls out a razor blade from his pocket and stands up and tries to, like, I guess, fight off the police. But because he is actually like a frail old man and this is a grown-ass policeman, he is grabbed by the wrist, the razor blade falls to the floor, and he is subdued and thrown back to the couch. Of course, he is finally arrested. So surprisingly, it was only on a 10-day trial, and in that process, one of the nights, he did take a chicken bone from his soup and sharpen it and started to stab himself with it. They were claiming that it was a suicide attempt, but in reality, it was just him getting off in his jail cell. They did claim that during the 10-day trial that Albert Fish has had very, like, a switch of emotions. Mostly he was just sitting there, like, emotionless, like, looking like he was bored to death that he had to be there. He was even said to have just looked like a corpse sitting there waiting to hear his outcome of his trial. So during the trial, they did go back and forth trying to say that he was insane and that he was sane. Of course, his side was trying to say that he was insane and didn't know what he was doing. And the other side was saying, like, no, he knew exactly what the fuck he was doing. And I have to agree with that. I don't think he was, like, I mean, obviously he was insane, because who fucking does that? Like, what he fucking did, you know? But I'm pretty sure he was quite well aware of exactly what it was he was doing. I mean, if he took the initiative to, like, hide as well as he did and, like, to take the children without anyone knowing, you think if he didn't know any better, he would just, like, walk up to the neighborhood and just grab a child out of his fucking front porch? So no, he knew exactly what he was doing. But the courts did find him sane and sentenced him to death by the electric chair. Although some of the juries were later to have said that they probably thought he was insane, but he deserved exactly what he was going to get. And on January 16th of 1936, Albert Fish was executed by the electric chair. His body jolted all around. And finally, the Wolf of Wisteria was dead. But like I said, I really hope you guys were interested in this. Hopefully you guys learned from this. I really want to get down into, like, more of doing these. I find them quite interesting myself. Hopefully there's a big true crime fan base out there. Sorry if I'm a little rusty, like I said, on this one. This is my first attempt at doing these, so sorry if I was kind of, like, choppy all over the place. I left some things out. I will work better at it at the next one. I really want to, like, continue doing these. So if you guys are interested, please let me know. Is there any serial killer or, like, true crime event out there that's happened that you want to know more on? It was actually really interesting looking up this case, because I mean, I knew about Albert Fish, but I hadn't gone that deep into detail about some of the shit he did. And I was actually like, holy shit, like, I had, until this point, never knew about the letter. And when I read that letter, it was honestly quite, like, disturbing as low. But until the next time, if you guys want to hang out with me between uploads, you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I'll leave those linked down below. Also next to my Cash App if you want to tip this witch. Like I said, I would greatly appreciate that. But what I would appreciate so much more is if you guys smash that like button, hit that bell for notifications, subscribe to this channel to join this Krueger cult. I would really love to have you guys here. Hopefully you're interested in this true crime. I also do like horror movie reviews, trailer reviews, this, that, etc. You know, there's a couple things I've been wanting to try out with this channel because honestly, I've gotten so bored with the makeup community, the makeup shit. Like, I'm just so bored. Like, obviously I'm not bored of it because I love painting. I love doing my wigs. I love doing all that. I just kind of got bored of like, this pink eyeshadow is great. And then like a week later with another palette, this pink eyeshadow is great, but this one wasn't as great as the one. You know, I just got so fucking sick of doing that. I feel like I could have so much more fun creating videos like this that are more interesting. You know, I've mentioned it before. I love makeup and I'll always like have a part of it. But even like I've been offered my job back as like a makeup artist since the pandemic's over, and I just like, no thanks. I am so much more happier where I am at now, and I don't want to do makeup for people anymore. I fucking hate it. Like, I really fucking hate doing that. But enough of my rambling. Oh my god. So anyways, this is Terror Krueger, and until the next time, I'll see you ghouls later. Bye.